figure while I'm at it, I may as well continue seated here shooting as is because I'm on a bit of a horror kick. I watched this Dutch movie, De Lift. Actually had this on my Amazon watch list for years, not realizing it was on Tubi this whole damn time. So, check this out. And you know what? This movie has some issues. I can understand why there was an American remake. I heard maybe it was more comical than it should have been. I think it was The Shaft or Down was the title going by. This movie is trying to do a very difficult thing here and trying to make an everyday item scary, an elevator. But it's also something that's easily avoidable. Kind of like Jaws. You don't have to go to the beach. You don't have to take the elevator. Take the stairs. Stay on land. You know, things like this you can work around. But you have these people go into this elevator, I guess it's an office building of some sort. I guess there's some farmers on convention with some gold-digging whores go into the elevator. And I guess the air conditioner turns off, it gets hot in there. They don't die, but they go to the hospital. We probably should have gotten an interview with them or something. The detective in this is really just driven by his desire to go on a vacation. In fact, he checks out of the movie and he's like, yeah, when's my flight? And I'm thought, okay, well, he'll be back, right? Nope. The real hero here is the repairman for the elevator company. I think his name was Adler. He kind of pairs up with a reporter who thinks that suspicious things are happening. There's a blind guy that falls down the shaft. There's a guy who gets beheaded. Not a bad looking scene. But now you're thinking you're kind of out of ways for elevators to affect people negatively. Oh, but you're wrong, because this elevator, and look, when the elevator's not attacking people, it's a much slower, how do we get these scenes connected type movie. Elevator attacks, cool. Rest of the movie, really quite bland. You're going to check out. You're probably going to be looking at your tweets, checking your Instagram, seeing which supermodels liked your reel. Because there's really not a whole lot going on, and I don't think that how they try to explain that the elevator become a sentient being because it has some GUI processor. Oh yeah, you're going to install a super advanced processor in an elevator to see if it becomes a super elevator. Like, what? There's limitations here with the hardware, and I think the movie's plot is kind of playing on people's lack of understanding of microprocessors at the time. They did enough to try to justify this to make it worse. If it was supernaturally affected, and I think this was probably inspired by The Shining, the elevator opening scene, Blood. It's not a whole movie about an elevator. You got your bang for your buck with the elevator there, and then you thought, oh hey, why don't we just make a whole movie about a killer elevator? How do we explain the elevator? Well, microprocessors, yeah, that'll do it. Not really. So it's sort of this biomechanical GUI processor that the Adler, the mechanic, tries to break into after his wife left him for hanging out with this reporter. And he's going up there in the shaft, and I like the radical shift in the tone at times. Sometimes it seems a little hokey, the music, a product of its time, the synth is not quite hitting there. That's the thing about 80s synth. It's either amazing or bad. There's really very little go in between space. So the movie sounds bad a lot of times. A lot of times it has some good visuals. I like the stark contrast and the neon lighting. I'm not sure I've ever seen an elevator with neons in it quite like this, but it works out well enough for me. But as he enters the shaft for the final fight, you get this kind of like boom, 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 this pulsing heartbeat sound. It becomes almost a different shift in tone yet again, as this seems like almost survival. Like, oh no, it's doing things. Hitting the counterweight, it's going to knock him over. He's got to crawl. He's bashing the processor with the wrench. And as he's about to slip and the thing's going to crash down on him, the reporter shows up and pulls him out. And it's like, hey, yeah, conveniently well timed. Oh, and then the CEO of the processor company comes by, shoots the thing with a gun. And then you get one more little jump scare, though again, If this sort of horror movie works for you, it's because the story's only there to get you to the kills. Do you feel like you need that justified or soundly written? If not, this might be the movie for you, because the cables come out and it strangles the guy and pulls him into the elevator. It's a cool looking effect. They got by as best as they could with the concept and delivering exciting kills, especially in its day. You know, we're looking at no use of computers here. In a lot of ways, you can't really quite get the old 80s style slasher horror, or as I previously mentioned in previous video there, giallo films. You can't get that tone today. Everything comes across as hokey and self-aware. The aesthetics are all different today, and it's really a shame that you can't get movies that play it straight. Just no matter what they do, everything seems to be in on the joke. I watched the new Scream recently, and just even from the way it's shot and the music tones, it's just, can you be scared by a movie anymore? Especially when they're all made by people that are into the genre in a way that they were inspired by movies making fun of the horror, and they always end up being funnier than they should be. I think this one actually plays it straight enough that you can kind of enjoy this, and you might even get a mild jump out of it. But I'm just saying that all the scenes that don't involve the elevator killing, man, they're pretty stale. I give The Lift 2 out of 4 stars.
If you appreciate a YouTube channel that doesn't just pad out content to get to the 8-minute mark so that it can hammer you with ad breaks, then you should subscribe to my son's channel. You just got done watching it.